Okay, everyone, this is my spoiler review of the Stranger Things Season 4 finale, the Piggyback. This, again, was written and directed by the Duffer Brothers. So, it's one of the toughest episodes I've ever had to review is this episode. In all shows, because it's not really an episode, it's a movie. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes, just about. And it's meaty, there's a lot in it. And it's tricky because I have a lot of conflicting emotions and there's so much going on and happening in this episode, but it also is one of those episodes where you have high expectations because this season, to me at least, has been knocking out of the park up to this finale, and that you can look at certain things and nitpick, which I'm going to do because I love to do it, but you can also look at things that were really well done. And as a TV episode, I really think this finale was so well done and continued the quality of the whole season. However, to the higher standard of the show, where as a fan with characters and things that happen with characters, there's a lot of stuff in this finale I have very mixed feelings on. Why I have mixed feelings is I praised the last episode how good of a setup was for a big finale. Then, as this finale starts, it really continues that momentum and builds really good suspense as we're setting up this group in different phases they had to do. But it kind of starts getting lost as the phases go on. Like, it starts doing like phase 1, phase 2, but then one of the more bizarre things was having Steve, Nancy, and Robin just kind of shut down in this episode. And they do get a little moment to face Vecna at the end, but it did seem like they became kind of useless, especially Steve, who was a very popular character, and that was kind of strange. But also, there was this weird feeling of maybe almost it was too much about 11 here in the end. And again, 11 is the heart and soul of the show, and so is Max. So I'm happy we spent a lot of time together. I like the concept where 11 was helping Max. But there did seem to feel like that, again, crutch Stranger Things can fall under of having so many characters. And you're trying to feed all these mouths, and then some kind of get sidelined. So it really is tough to judge because I feel like everyone's going to feel very differently about this finale. But I think that clearly there was too much bloat here too. Like, I think it didn't need to be 2 hours and 20 minutes. I felt exhausted by the end of it. And that's not out of like boredom or frustration. It was just a lot. So it's tough. Then maybe make it more of a movie format where you're starting a journey, ending a journey, where kind of having such a long climax is a lot.
That's what she said.
That's a frustration too. Now, I'm trying to get a lot of my nitpicks out of the way because it's what's really fresh on my mind, because it's like this was so close to glory for me, but it just kind of missed the mark. I think that Max, whether you decide to kill her or not, I'm in the fence of your most popular characters you don't really want to kill, right? Because you're going to pay the price later on. This isn't the final season yet. Next season's the final season, so Max is a star. Sadie Sink is a star. She's a popular character. It's not probably the best move to kill that character. However, whether you kill her or not, doing the limbo death, and what I mean by that is having her in a coma, is bizarre to me. Because you know what that says? That's dumbing down for a smarter audience that enjoys this show. Because all that's saying is, oh, we're going to leave this kind of looming thing. Is Max alive or not? Is she going to wake up from this coma? And they had 11 notice she wasn't in the area where she can connect to her. And it's supposed to cause this worry about Max. But at the same time, you're like, yeah, obviously next season Max is going to be fine. Like 100%. There's no mystery there. So why do it in the first place? Either just have her be back alive by 11, which was starting to happen, or just have her die. So I don't understand why the hell they did that. It almost took a lot of weight away from this finale. And I had this same kind of issue the Duff Brothers did with last season's finale, where they killed Hopper, set up a whole emotional scene at the end that really landed, and then there's a post-credit scene where he's alive, you know? So it's the same thing that happened here, where it's bittersweet, because the moment with Max, like, with 11, I haven't cried that hard in so long. And, like, I can admit that. Like, I was sobbing, and I yelped. I don't yelp when I cry. I think it was the first time I yelped. So the closest was my goldfish dying before. So that was, like, really intense. And then you're like, oh, well, she's coming back alive. So you're like, oh, okay, she's back. Cool. At least Max is back. And then it's like, oh, wait a minute. We don't know yet, you know? So we're going to put her in a coma and just make it in the middle. So it makes you like, oh, like your head as an audience member is like, it's frustrating and it's a little cheap. So not happy about that. And I feel like they should have learned from the Hopper post-credits thing. And I'm sure, because they know Max is so popular, it's going to get even more annoying. Or maybe Max is just confirmed to be alive in a trailer. So you're just like, why do it in the first place? Because they end up doing it with Hopper. Hopper, they just like, he's alive. So frustrating. Having said that, those emotional beats were great. Like, Max saying she wanted to stay alive wow, powerful. The stuff with Eddie, his death, powerful. And that's always in a tribute, not even to the actor who's dying in that moment, but to the actor of Lucas and the actor of Dustin, Gaten, and Caleb, just absolutely phenomenal in this episode, and they're underappreciated as actors, so really standouts for the finale for me. Now, also, standout scene really landed was Mike, because they set up Mike having this issue of saying, I love you to 11. It was a perfect time for him to encourage her. I really like the weight they put in there with Vecna, and that he's going to torment 11, and that he's going to kill her friends in front of her. And what almost frustrates me, though, is this was the time, because the Duffer Brothers are very careful about who they kill in this show, and they like to kill new characters, like they did with Bob, and now they did with Eddie, because there's less of a risk. But this was the time, because we're about to end the show, we're one season away from done, to have one, at least, main OG character go. Like, if you're going to do it, you got to have Vecna put that stamp. I don't think Eddie being that is enough. I obviously think that's a big moment, but we only had one season with the guy, and he was awesome, but they've done this before. They did it with Bob. They'll introduce someone and kill them. But they haven't yet, to this day in the show, really killed, like, someone that's been through the show from the beginning. And that's frustrating, too, because I think this was the time to do it. So I think that felt flat. There wasn't that moment that can, like, stick with us and translate that anger that Eleven's feeling towards Vecna. It can't be someone in limbo that we know is going to be fine, which is Max. It's just not enough. So it's excruciatingly frustrating in that sense. But a lot of these things, again, are tough to judge as a review. It's more of as like a fan. So it's finding that line, because I really enjoyed this. It's still, like I said, kept the quality of the whole season. I would say this episode would be the fourth best of the season. I still think Dear Billy was the best. Then the Massacre at Hawkins Lab. And then, actually, the last episode, Pop, I thought was great. I thought it just was a great how you do a setup penultimate episode perfectly, where then, you know, set up for this big finale, but the whole way they did the phasing of the big scene, and they set it up good even in the finale, and then when it came about, I don't know if it totally delivered where it could have. Like, the potential they had to really just make this iconic, I think they just missed that. And that even goes to, like I've said, my problems with the Hopper storyline all season. It just hasn't been that interesting. And I think it's cool that Sword was there, but that even felt a little off-putting and weird in Stranger Things. Like, maybe that was even too much. Like, trying a little too hard to be like, wow, he's got a sword. So, I don't know. I think it was a lot of Hopper just to get him to reunite with 11, and that was one of the more disappointing season storylines. But does this totally leave me excited for where season 5 will go? Yes and no. I think it's inevitable that this was going to happen now with Vecna bringing in to the real world now all these monsters and him, and I'm happy that they kept Vecna alive. That's so important. He's such a great villain. That's the best thing to come out of season 4, so it's smart that they'll have him for the 5th season. Do I like that he's really the Mind Flayer? Yeah, because they kept justifying, well, backtracking and making Vecna more important to the past, and it worked. I think they got away with it. I really do. You know, I'm interested to see if people agree with that point, because I could see the other argument, but I think they just got away with it, which is really impressive. Oh, and thank you, Sean Levy, who I'm a huge fan of his work, but why post a spoiler if anyone else got spoiled by him? He posted it the morning of with a black and white picture of Eddie. Like, come on, man. I have to get that out somewhere, because that just... But I like they made Nancy this season great, and she was really someone I really liked. They connected the story of Mike being a leader and the heart, but she has that Wheeler blood, and she got to kind of be a leader this season and had some really good moments, so that was cool. I'm starting to be almost more interested in the Nancy, Robin, and Steve trio. It was really, really solid throughout the season, and again, my favorite still is the Lucas Max story, so I'm happy Max is alive, but again, I just wish it wasn't limbo, or is she alive, should I say, but she's alive. So we'll see, and I'm going to give this episode, though, at the end of the day, a 9. It was still really solid. It's so good for television, like, you're getting quality product, but it just feels more of a little letdown to its own standards, in that they could have really hit this out of the park if they wanted to, and maybe felt a little rushed here, and they just missed some things, and maybe have some bigger memorable moments in this finale, which I don't think were really there like we've had in the season all along. So giving it a 9, but it's a 9 with disappointment, which sounds odd, but if you feel me, you feel me. If you don't, that's okay too. But let me know your thoughts on the season. I would also, if you're curious about my season thoughts, I still will say now, with the quality of the last episode in this one, it is better than season 1. So I'm going to make season 4 the best season of Stranger Things yet, which is amazing that it got this good. And just past season 1, I would say, and then season 3, and then season 2, which I didn't really enjoy season 2 at all, but season 3 I actually really liked. But that's my thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts on the season. I want to hear your season rankings, your episode rankings this season, what were your favorites, what did you think of this finale? All your thoughts, please. And please make sure to check out all the interviews I did for Stranger Things. I interviewed Mason Dye, who plays Jason, rest in peace. Interviewed Eduardo Franco, who plays Argyle. And I got to talk to Susie herself, Gabriella Pizzolo. Please check out those interviews. They'll be linked below. Please, if you like what I do here, I appreciate any tips I can get. You can do that below or become a member today. It'll help me in so many ways. You have no ideas. And please follow me at Steve Varley Show on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok for more of me. And I'll see you next time.